My name is Honiana White, and I'm a disciple of Jesus Christ. I grew up in a little bit of a harder way, I suppose is one way of putting it, but you know, when I'm back there, that was just what was normal, so you didn't really think that there was anything unusual going on. It was a lot of drinking and drug use and violence, a few broken bones and broken teeth. But as I say, when you're in that situation, you just accept that that's what's normal. So there came a point in my life when I had my first child, and I remember holding her. I could fit her in my hands like that, and just something kind of took place where I did acknowledge I need to do something, I need to make a change. So, oh gosh, I was probably like 26 when that was happening, and I tried with all of my own effort. I'm a very willful-minded person, so I mean, when I say I put all of my effort into making change, I seriously have. I know I exhausted every avenue which I could go down. These were things like, I put myself in the Stopping Violence program twice. Thank you to those guys, they were a big help. You know, and I've seen clinical psychologists and psychiatrists. I did do those things, reaching out for help, you know, and I spent years doing 12-step programs, and those people I met, they're good people, really helpful, and I think I got introduced to the concept of there is a God and that He can heal. But I still felt inside, I still felt this turmoil. It's like a hurt, it's like a pain that you carry inside. I'm sure some of that must have been some shame and guilt, but it's like a spiritual scarring and I'd carry it, even though I was trying my hardest to be a good person. You know, I'd do things like be kind and be generous, you know, and help others. I still didn't feel good. I had anxiety and depression. They were huge markers in my life, and I used to complain a lot to whoever that God was about, I'm trying so hard, can't you see how hard I'm trying? Please, you know, please, can't you take that pain away? So I really was looking for the answer, and almost at a point where I wanted to give up, you know, but I don't know what giving up was. I did have thoughts, the negative thoughts of harming myself, but I couldn't do that to my kids, and I felt trapped. My second daughter, she's a special needs girl. I don't hardly ever talk about her, but to leave her out of the story would not be giving you the full facts. She has just turned 15. She's amazing. She's what would be classified as significantly impaired or disabled. Don't like that word. It's heartbreaking as a parent to want to fix your child and not be able to do that. I spent a lot of time arguing with what my idea of God was, and I was disappointed. I wanted God to just miraculously heal her, you know, and I still pray for that today. There was a lot of pain back there, you know, and I was looking for a switch, a magical switch, where I could turn off that pain and I could turn on a good feeling. And that's what my life was like prior to actually finding out what the truth is. And man, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for my journey to now be in a position where I know who God is, and that's Jesus. I was going with my wife to church. She was a Christian before, so almost out of a duty to her, I would attend and show her that at least my intentions were good and that it's okay if she wanted to be a Christian, but I didn't. I had no, I'm being honest here, I had no actual interest in becoming a Christian. I thought that I was a worldly, wise kind of person, that there's enough information around for me to be able to make a decision about who God is and what God is. But the fact is that I had limited myself by my own mental construct of what God had to be like and what Christians had to be like. And I was getting more and more frustrated over this week, and there was something in me that was stirring, and I was putting these challenges out to God to reveal himself to me. And it happened over a few times, and I do remember, and this was unfortunate, that on the Saturday night I'd argued with my wife and I was upset. I was just feeling all of these feelings were sort of like bubbling up, and I don't like to be a feelings kind of guy. I like to push that stuff down, that's really how I used to operate. We get up on Sunday, it's church day, and we're going to drive into church. I felt like that we were still arguing. It's like a 25-minute drive to get there, and I felt like we were arguing the whole way. And when I've said this to my wife, she actually said no, it was just me arguing, and that she remained silent. And maybe it was like that, but I was definitely in this frustration. And by the time we got to the car park, and I had this blinding headache, and there was all these different reasons why I didn't want to go in. I didn't want to go into the church. So what was going to happen was I decided that I was just going to drop her off and the kids off. I was going to go away somewhere else, go to the river and clear my head, And I looked at her, and to me, she looked like she was going to cry. And the same thing, when I've asked her, she said she wasn't. But I seen that. She was starting to cry. So I was reluctant. I said, okay, I will come into church. But I wouldn't walk with her when we're going across the car park. I was like 6 meters behind. And during that walk across the car park, I really laid into God. I used a lot of F words. And I was like, you've got to show me something today that is for me. You've got to show me something today that's for me, or else I'm out. And I really did mean it. I was at a point where I was going to draw a line in the sand, and I was going to stop coming to church, and I was going to stop my wife from talking about Jesus at home, and I was going to stop her from trying to teach our children about who he was. And I was so angry at God. I was so angry. I was just angry at everything. I went in the church, and Maria was on the creche, so she had to be back there, and I felt myself sitting in this room with like 200 people there, and I felt like I was sitting on my own. I felt like I was the only angry guy in there. I felt like, why is everybody else all, happy clappers, and here's me just very angry. I was fuming, and I couldn't, there was so much stirring in me. It was like, I was trying to contain this anger, and I listened to the sermon, and I just came up with all these mental reasons why I can shut that down, or I can argue that away. And what was happening, I was just building in this intensity, and my headache was splitting, and I was trying to just hold my head together. I just wanted it to be over, and there was something in me that was like shaking in me. And what he said was, perhaps you've been here before. And it really started to penetrate, and it made me, in my mind, I thought back to when I was a kid. I could actually see myself running around, probably about 5-6 years old, innocent as, before all those horrible things ever happened. And I remembered, I used to just believe in God, without any complications, without any name, without anything that tried to tell me it was another way. And the next thing he said, maybe it was when you were a child. And I'm just like, wow. Now I'm feeling my hands starting to shake, and I'm looking at them. And I'm going, I don't want my hands shaking. And then he said, I've got a message for you. And I was just like, oh, wow. I'm trying to hold on to my seat. And I'm just like, this is freaking me out, because I'm afraid to move forwards in this. But like I said, I felt like it was just me and this voice. And then he said, my message to you is it's okay to come back. And I was just like, wow. I'm holding my hands over my eyes. I'm crying, and I'm a big guy. I don't want to be crying, especially not in a church with all these people around. And I was crying, and I was crying, and I felt something in me, and I was touched. And I know, I felt like a physical touch, and I felt that those pains and that scarring that was in there started to just unfold and fall away. And it's continuing and continuing to do that. But in that moment, it's like when you're in a cold valley or a basement or somewhere, and you come out into the sunshine, and it's like there's immediate warmth, and there's this light, and there's this contentment, and there's more fulfillment, and even though you're the same person in the same place doing the same thing, there's something else that's going on. And that's how I felt. Now that might not mean anything to whoever's listening, but I know that in that time I got touched by the Holy Spirit. I know it. And it's taken me a longer time to actually understand what that was about, but I just want more. And I just want more. And I just want to tell everybody about it, because it's real. It's a real thing.